Good morning, Lawrence Fleming here again. Okay, we're going to look at another topic that I've covered in pieces. We're just going to focus on it a little bit more in depth here. We're getting ready to go into the tribulation, or at least go up to the start of it. We're in the wars and rumors of wars time frame right now, where we're looking at the birth pangs. And the birth pangs have to do with the Revelation 12 sign. And the woman is about to give birth to us, the child, that Satan's going to try to kill, and that's our rapture. That's our way out. So we're going to look at some verses. Get my glasses out. For our subject today, which is do not quit. Things may be getting tough. They may already be tough. They may have been tough for years. I'm going to look at one person real quickly, and then we're going to look at some verses. Joseph. His brothers sold him into slavery. He spent some time in a pit for a little while. Then they sold him into slavery. Not a good way to start your life. Well, he eventually, through the slave market, gets to Potiphar, a rich landowner. And eventually, because, if you're a Christian or if you're loyal to God, his loyalty to God was considered righteousness. Joseph was the same way. And people can pick up on that. They see it. And he was put in charge of the whole household. Well, that experience would come to use later on, but that wasn't his final trial. The guy's wife wants to have her way with him, and he runs away, leaving his cloak. She lies about it. Says he tried to attack her. Well, nobody expects somebody to lie like that, so he was thrown in prison. Again, you can pick up on his countenance even in prison. The prison guard put him in charge. This didn't happen right away. I don't know how long he was there. It was probably about 13 years total, going from Potiphar to his final destination. But while he was in prison, he did interpret some dreams for some people that were there. When they got out, they went back and forgot about their promise to tell the Pharaoh. Anyhow, the Pharaoh later on had a dream while he's in prison, and nobody could answer it. Pharaoh was getting frustrated. And somebody remembered when they met him in prison that he was able to decipher dreams. So they called for Joseph. He was able to decipher it. 7 years of plenty, 7 years of famine. It saved Egypt. And in gratitude, Pharaoh put Joseph in charge again. You see, you get promoted to positions that you don't think you deserve or are capable of. As long as you are willing to endure. Every place that he went, though, he rose to the top. God's people should always be doing that. So anyhow, he lived about 110 years old. Joseph did. 80 years of that was, it's cold, my mouth was cold. He ran Egypt, saved his family through some of that famine. Pharaoh told him to bring his family there. And they came, and they multiplied greatly. So when a later Pharaoh came in power, that's when they were afraid of the multitude of the Jews. They could turn against him, and he made them slaves. And that's what takes us to Moses' time. And again, they were rescued again by another spiritual leader who was in tune with God. We have it so much better than they did because we have the Spirit in us. They had to be loyal on their own. But they were believers, they had faith, and God promoted them. Now they had trials. Joseph had multiple ones. Moses had multiple ones. You come to the New Testament. Paul had multiple trials. So let's look at, well, we're going to get to Timothy in a second, but let's look at Galatians. Galatians 6:9. Well, I'm going to go back to, I like to read the verses up to it, so go back to 7. Do not be deceived, God is not mocked, for whatsoever a man sows, that he will also reap. For he who sows to the flesh will reap to the flesh corruption, but he who sows to the Spirit, of the Spirit will reap everlasting life. And let us not grow weary in doing good, for in due season we shall reap, if we do not lose heart. It's another way of saying don't quit. Keep at it. Don't get tired of doing good. The world may mock you for that, and they will, but don't let that stop you. Let's see. Let's go to 2 Timothy 4:7. And again, I'm going to start in 6. For I'm already, this is Paul writing to Timothy to encourage him. For I am already being poured out as a drink offering, and the time of my departure is at hand. He knew he didn't have much more time on the earth. And 7, I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. Finally, there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will give to me on that day, on the day that he stands before Jesus. You will get a crown. We're all going to get a crown when we get there. Now, he's got multiple crowns to pass out, so hopefully you can get more than one, but we're all going to at least get one. Paul put up with a lot. A lot of his best writing was from prison. We have the account of the prison guard that there's an earthquake and all the doors are open. All the prisoners could have run out of the prison. Well, the prison guard knew exactly how the rulers of those days treated anything that they didn't like. The prison guard would have been killed if the prisoners were gone. But before he could kill himself, Paul yelled out to him, "Don't worry, we're all still here." The doors were open, and Paul and his friends were singing religious songs, praising God. It saved the prison guard. Was that worth it? I think so. You can be in the worst of situations and be praising God, and people will look at you and shake their heads and then want to know what you're drinking or what you have. They thought those at Pentecost were drunk because they were just way too happy. Well, they were drunk with the Spirit, which you've got with you all the time. All right. I'm going to look at John 1:12. No, not John, James 1:12. Blessed is the man who endures temptation, for when he has been approved, he will receive the crown of life, which the Lord has promised to those who love him. Again, a crown of life, a reward. Let's look at Philippians 4:13. Let me go back to 12. I know how to be abased, to be in trouble. I know how to abound, to have what you need. Everywhere in all things I have learned both to be full and to be hungry, both to be abound and to suffer need. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That's the key. If you're struggling, you've got to pray about it, obviously. But there's two options. One, God will remove whatever the problem is, or give you a path out of it. We won't be tempted beyond our ability. Or He'll give you strength. Frankly, I prefer strength, because then I can hold up to anything else coming that way. You never know what's coming. And these are all from the New Testament. Let's just go back to Isaiah. Where am I? I'm looking at Isaiah 43, and I see a verse that associates with me. The voice of one crying in the wilderness, prepare the way for the Lord. Make straight in the desert a highway for our God. Every valley shall be exalted, and every mountain and hill brought low, and crooked places made straight. Okay. They were talking about John the Baptist, obviously. But let's go over to 40:29. He gives power to the weak, and to those who have no might, He increases strength. Even the youth shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall. But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. Not once did they mention a specific incident. When God gives us strength, He's not being specific. He covers everything. Strength to endure hardship, strength to endure pain, strength to endure loneliness, strength to endure ridicule and persecution, strength to endure anything that we might suffer. God can give us strength for that. We have to hold on as things are about to get rough again. Everything around the world is just nudging forward slowly and slowly. We're getting to the point where we're going to be out of here soon. I'm not going to give you a date. We don't have a date. And those that have tried, don't condemn them. They're optimistically trying. What did I do with my glasses? There they go. They sincerely want to know when the date is so they can celebrate it, but we're not going to know. A lot of work has been done to convolute things, so we're not going to know. But that's why when Jesus was asked about it, He said, wars and rumors of words and all the rest are birth pains. Revelation 12 talks about the birth pains and the sign. And Satan then comes down with his angels to try to kill us. That's the main sign. Will we see that? I hope so, but I'm not sure. Coming down with a third of his angels, that sounds like maybe a bunch of meteorites. I don't know. We've had some meteor showers already, and He hasn't been in it, at least not that I'm aware. But when He's ready, He will come after us. And when He does, that's in Revelation 12, harpazo is used. We will be raptured. That's the first rapture. Revelation 12, like the other vignettes, is a self-contained vision. It's got the sign, Satan coming to earth to attack us, the rapture, and then Satan's cast out of heaven. That's a vision. And when it's over, then you go on to the next vision. It's not linear. We've already had the 12th sign some time ago. Is that 5 years ago? Yeah, 2017, I think. We will be out of here soon to stay in the timeline, but how much of the timeline prediction are we going to be accurate on? The fig tree generation, are we right on that? We know that we will see him, but what part of seeing him are we talking about? Is that to the world? Is that to the church? Is that to the Jews? See, there's some unknowns in this. It's prophecy, and it takes a prophet to fully understand it, or the Spirit to explain it to us. And we're not supposed to know. And know the reference where we're not going to know the day or the hour has to do with the second coming, not the rapture. The rapture is merely mentioned a couple times and then not defined. We have to be ready. I mean, after he talks about this stuff, he talks about the 7 bridesmaids that have to be ready. Some don't have oil in their lamps, and they're not going to be ready. But they know about it, or they wouldn't be waiting. We have Christians that are going to miss the rapture because they're not really Christians. They're Christians in their mind. You have to get it into your soul. You have to accept Christ. And if you do, then you make the rapture. If you just say the words but don't take it to heart, it won't do you any good. But you're going to know about it. And when everybody's gone, you're going to realize you weren't fully committed. There are going to be plenty of Christians during the tribulation time frame. Some that missed the first rapture. But don't worry, there's a second one and a third. But you're going to have to make that full commitment. Remember the letter to the church in Revelation. He hates lukewarm. He'd rather you be hot or cold. So you need to get warmed up. And if you do it before the first rapture, you go with us. If you don't, you got a couple more chances. But if you don't, at the end, non-committal is an answer. And there's a nice warm fire waiting for you. And I don't think you're going to like that. The sun is just coming out of the clouds, and it is bright. You see, we talk about the Lord and about Christ, and the sun comes out. Perfectly revealing. You can't miss anything in the light. Accept Jesus now if you haven't. Tell your friends that if they're on the fence, to get off. Accept Christ. We are getting very close. And I pray that you do, in Jesus' name. Until we meet in the clouds, God bless. It's not quite so cold this morning. Get out here for my first hike. One of the ranger houses is right there in the trees, and I can see a Starlink antenna on it. The gate's open, so it's about 8 o'clock. It looks like the gate, the gate into that area is open. That means there's somebody camping on the platform camping. Okay. Well, let me go ahead and find a place where I can do my study. And get going with that. Blessings.